Kia ora, good evening everybody. This is my favourite thing to do, talk to first home buyers about the tricks and tips of buying a house. I love this because I didn't buy a house until I was quite old, and my family didn't get to buy a house until they were quite old. So if I can give you a roadmap that makes it easier, even if there's only one takeaway from tonight for you guys, I would feel like I've done a good job. So when you buy a house, it's as stressful as losing your job or having a divorce. It is a series of events that make people very nervous. All of your money, are you buying the right thing? Are you able to continue to pay? Will this house set you up and your children, whoever is going to be living with you? So one of the things I think I can teach you today, hopefully, is the ABCs. And this should, because I often think when people come to see me as first home buyers, what could I have told them before they came to me that would be useful, save them some money and some time? And these are some of the things. The ABCs, A stands for AML, that is anti-money laundering legislation, which the government brought in to stop people being able to launder money in New Zealand. That means that every law firm that you deal with now must make you a client before they're able to do any work for you. In the old days, you could ring around lots of people. I used to get lots of cold calls. People saying, could you please give me some advice for this? Now I'm not able to do that until you become a client of the firm. So the best thing that you guys can do is sort out who is going to be acting for you relatively early in your process. You don't need to give them any work yet, so just phoning a lawyer shouldn't cost you any money. Getting onboarded for their AML process shouldn't cost you any money, but it does give you the ability, if you get that done quickly, to act quickly if you find the right property. Whereas if you find the property, because you're all out there looking, trying to make the right decision, you find the right property, now you've got to run around and try and find the right lawyer, and then you've got the brakes put on because you haven't provided them with the information they need to make you a client. So that is the very first thing. Now, when you're looking for a lawyer, I hope that everybody you talk to gives you confidence that they can do the job, because we all hope that that's what every professional can do. But you need to find one that you feel confident with and comfortable with. There's no point in having a lawyer act for you if you don't feel like you can ask them questions. If they're not answering you when you ring them because they're too busy and now you're left worried, that doesn't work for you. You're paying for this service and you should be getting service. So the way that you sort that out for yourself is during this AML process. You ring around, talk to a few people, talk to your friends, family, anyone else that's bought a house, ask them if they like their lawyer. Interestingly, people tell me, oh, I don't really trust lawyers, but I like mine. Now that's 100% of people telling me they like theirs, but they don't trust other people. So find one you like, that you think can do the job, that answers the phone, that answers your questions. Ask them what they're going to charge you. That's really important. Don't be afraid to have the money conversation. I like to have that conversation with people up front because there's no surprises. If we don't have it up front and you get a big bill at the end, you're not going to be happy, and I'm not going to be happy, and it doesn't matter what job I did for you, that's all you're going to remember. So ask the questions. Ask things like, how much will it cost if I buy the house? Does it cost extra if I have KiwiSaver? If there's two of us, does it cost more? If I'm getting a mortgage with a normal bank, will that cost me some money? Ask all those questions up front and people will be able to give you a good indication of what they might charge you. The next thing in our ABCs is B, and that's banks and brokers, and you're going to hear from a broker tonight. The really useful thing, once you've found your law firm, is to find a bank or a broker that can tell you how much money you can spend. What is your budget? Get some pre-approval going so you know how much you can spend, because too many times people find a house they like and then realise, oh no, I can't afford that, because they haven't done their homework. They haven't gone to a broker, they haven't asked the bank, and now they're sad because they didn't get the house that they wanted. But maybe that house was never in their price point to begin with. So knowing your budget's really important. Having the banker that you like, who also answers the phone, is important. Having a great broker is very useful because they'll do the legwork for you and they can answer all your questions, and they're usually available a lot more than the bankers. So I really recommend you get your budget nailed down, get your lawyer nailed down, and at this stage you still spend no money. You're just doing your legwork, which is why you're all here tonight instead of celebrating St. Patrick's Day, so that you can get your legwork done. The next thing is the C. The C is really important. That is your contract, for buying your house. That is the conditions you're putting in your contract for buying your house. And it's also the cash, which I want to talk about. I don't usually talk about cash in these chats, but I don't know if everybody's been following what's been going on in the paper about people who are giving money to lawyers and the money's ending up in the wrong place. So now I do integrate that so that we can have a chat about what you should be expecting, because you don't do this every day. Don't pay large amounts of money over to people unless you're lucky or you won lotto. So for your contract, when you're buying a house, the four corners of this piece of paper, they're pretty important. They tell you what your obligations are and what your rights are. Most first home buyers, unless again they've won lotto, they're not lucky enough to be able to put an unconditional offer in. They have to put conditions in because the bank wants to know what you're buying, and sometimes your lawyer wants to know what you're buying. We want to have a look at that. We call that due diligence. And other times you might want a building inspector to look at it if you're not buying a new home. Oftentimes when people are buying a Fletcher's home, unless they've got a builder in the family, New Zealanders tend to have builders in the family. I haven't got a builder, I've got a Sparky. He's quite useful, but he can't tell me if the deck's straight. So they often don't, for new homes, get building inspections, but you could. And talking to a lawyer about that's quite useful. So you're going to put in your conditional offer. And when you put your conditional offer in, you get some time to make those conditions work. That's when all your hard work about your budget, who your lawyer's going to be, who your broker's going to be, pays off. Because in that time frame, which can be 5 days, 10 days, 15 working days, you can get onto the bank. You can say, here's my contract. Can I please have the money? The bank will spend some time looking at it and they should say, yes, you can have the money. You'll say to your building inspector, here's my contract. Can you please go and look at the house? These things all take time. If you give yourself enough time, it makes it a much better process. And I like to chat to my clients about it as well. I like to have some time. So if you say to me, I'm buying this house in 3 days, Sandy, can you please tell me everything I need? I'll say, well, that's quite stressful for both of us, because I have to drop everything and you're not available because suddenly you're in meetings all day or you're working on site and I can't get hold of you. I feel like I'm spending my money. I'm worried for you. And then I say, oh, this deal's not coming together. So give yourselves enough time to take the stress out of it. Now the cash. In the old days, there was no problem. People would use bank checks to pay me. That was useful because you knew your money was at the bank, the check came to me, and then you knew the money was with me. But now things have moved on technology-wise, and we have electronic transfers of this money. You never see the money anymore. I don't know. Hands up if you've got cash on you right now. Look at that. Yeah, one person down the back. I don't have cash on me ever, and if I do, my kids take it, so it's not a good idea to have it. So we are all in this electronic world. With that, if you haven't rung your lawyer, if you don't know them, if there's lots of people working there, and I send you an email, sandy@dodgerus, saying, hi you guys, it's time for you to hand over your money. Please give me $750,000. The bank's going to give me the rest. I'd like it a week before. And you think, oh, does Sandy seem nice? I'd like to give her that money. You don't check with me. You just pay the money over. The first you know that it hasn't come to me, if we're not talking and interacting with each other, is when I ring you about 2 days before settlement and say, I'd like to have your money now, please. And you say, no, Sandy, I sent that to you. And I say, when did you send it to me? And then you'll say, when you sent me the email. I say, I didn't send you an email. It's really heartbreaking. That I'm lucky enough, knock on wood, to say that hasn't happened to me. I tend to talk to my clients. I know them pretty well now, even my first home buyers, because they need a lot of help and I'm happy for that. So they know my voice and we have a lot of Zoom calls and a lot of chat. So when I ring you, I might say, so I've just met Renee tonight, and I might say to Renee, I need this money. Please, can you give me the money now over the phone? And then I'll say, as well as asking for the money and telling Renee how much it is, I'll say, I'm going to send you an email with our account details, and the amount of money should match what I've told you. Please don't pay it to me yet. Please wait till I ring you again and confirm my email and the account that's on there. And then there can be no way that your money could end up in the wrong hands, because that's devastating. And trying to get it back on the day, so there was a couple this happened to, they did exactly that. They paid quite a lot of money, and 2 days before settlement, their lawyer rang and said, please, can I have the money? They then realised, oh no, we've been scammed. They got half of the money back and they're still trying to get the rest back. It's heartbreaking because they didn't settle. The vendor in that case has been really nice and has given them a little bit more time, but they still have to come up with the money. So protect yourselves. In closing, I want to say a couple of things. Make sure you pick the right lawyer for you, someone you like and trust. make sure you pick the right bank and use a broker because they're useful and they spend a lot of time on your behalf. And if you feel at any stage you can't ask questions, you've got the wrong professional. It shouldn't always be about they're busy. It should be, I've got a question, I'd like that answered. And typically home buyers spend a lot of time on the phone. I spend a lot of time with my home buyers, my first home buyers. But guess what happens? After you guys buy your first house, you know now a lot of information. It's gone well. I'm very happy. And then a couple of years later, maybe 5 years, typically is what New Zealanders tend to move, you might ring me and say, I'm ringing about the house. At first I go, oh no, what's happened about the house? And then you'll say, it's all right, Sandy, we've had some more family members move in, we've had some kids, we would like to move into a different school zone. And I say, okay. And if we've done a good job together in our partnership, I'm hoping you'll sell your house for what the market expects at the time, and then you'll be able to buy something that suits you. And that makes happy Sandy and happy clients. Now, good luck on your journey. You've done a really great job. You've come out on a wet St. Paddy's Day, and I look forward to answering any of your questions at the end. It's been a pleasure.